welcome everybody. We're excited to have you here for our South Florida Regional Luxury Mastermind call. We've got a great guest today, and we've got an amazing sale that happened in the region. We've got lots of great stuff happening as we look around the region and we examine the numbers and dive into what's happening. We want to start by giving you a look at the luxury lore, the luxury language of real estate, and share with you what's happening with the amazing numbers there. And Tamara, can we pull up the slide there? Yeah, and then if you can drop me into the spotlight with this, that would be great. Here's our total listings sold. We have 15,773. Here I am. Yeah, 15,773. This is from January to June. So now we show you these, right? Because numbers are powerful. And when you're out on listing appointments, we want you to be able to share with people the amazing amount of real estate transacted by Keller Williams in the luxury division. 26 billion in volume for listings sold. Total buyer closings, almost 30 billion. Total closings combined over 32,000 and 55 billion. And then the other piece that we always talk about that's really important is the transactions involving referrals. This is so often an opportunity that's missed. It's part of why we do this call. We've got 50 plus people on this call, and there are referral opportunities and just getting to know the other people who are watching here today with us and being involved with other people in the luxury division. 10 billion in luxury transactions by referral, and then agents who are involved in these, over 18,000 agents in Keller Williams with a $1 million plus transaction. So it's really powerful. One other thing I just want to share with you about what's happening, we track the numbers for all sales in the region. These are just the luxury numbers that you're seeing on your screen. You may want to make a note of this. So the second time this year that this happened, it happened in June. We track what we call the lore, language of real estate, which is the 8 key categories of real estate. So we track listings taken and listings sold. Here's what I want you to hear. Listings taken last month were up 9%. It's only the second time this year that listings taken were actually up. We took 200 more listings in June of this year than we took in June of last year. So that was an increase of 9%. Listings sold were down 22%. They were down 22%. So what does that tell us? It tells us the market is shifting, right? Like Gary has been telling us for a while. At least it's an early sign of a potential shift. So we've got lots of great information to share with you today. I'm going to call in my co-host for this, who is Kathrin Rein. And Kathrin, welcome. We're glad to have you joining us today. What are your thoughts when you look at the numbers that we shared here to kick it off?
You really need to focus on referrals. Like I say that every time, 25% of all transactions are referrals. And in regards to the numbers you just shared with a shifting market, you got to be really conscious about pricing. Number one, and number two is setting the expectations with your sellers that they cannot get $200,000 more than the last house sold on the street, but maybe price it at the same price or a little bit lower, and set the expectations that buyers will now ask for items after the inspection period, and buyers might not pay above appraised value anymore.
Yeah, really well said. And then one other thought I'd leave everyone with big picture is, rather than looking at the solds, we're going to have to look at the actives. We're going to have to look at the competition that's on the market and be the shining star of the actives, not so much the solds. And we're just pricing way over the solds. So we'll have more in your market centers and more specifics on that. That's why the shift book was written. That's why Gary did that, so we could shift and not take our unfair share of the changing market. Mm-hmm. Kathrin, I want to start today with a rock star, superstar in our luxury division here in South Florida, Mark Benson. Look what Mark Benson did in June. Mark, can we get Mark in the spotlight? Mark's with us on the call today, isn't he, Kathrin?
Yes, he is. Mark, where are you?
He's going to pop him in here, and he's going to tell us how he got this $8 million deal. Congratulations, Mark.
Amazing. Congratulations. How did this happen? Tell us all about the sale and how you made it happen.
Well, this is a buyer that I worked with starting back in October of 2016. So patience pays.
Wow.
They started out from $1.5 million to $2 million. And over the years, they kept coming back and kept increasing the price gradually. And a few times they made an offer. They were not the highest offer, so they lost out on one in particular. And then their circumstances continued to improve, and they could afford more, and they could afford more. And finally, the stars all came into alignment, and a unit came on the market next to the Ritz-Carlton and on the beach in Vanderbilt Beach in Naples. And we made an offer, and the power of the personal note in this case made the difference. They flattered the seller and said how wonderful they thought the house, or the condo, excuse me, was, and how they were looking forward to living there, et cetera. And that was the difference.
Yeah, the personal note was a difference. So I love that tip, Mark. But the other difference is your follow-up. So how did you stay in touch with this person over time, over a number of years? What did you do that you think went really well?
You know, Mark, I think we have the tools, and it's making sure that we use the tools that we have. So in my case, I was sending them, I have an automatic email. I don't send them every listing. I don't have the automatic email going to them. It comes to me, and then I filter what they've received. And that way I'm making sure that the properties that they're receiving are relevant. And then it's just the frequent phone calls, emails, text messages when appropriate, and keeping them abreast of the market. And they narrowed it down, Mark, to they wanted to be in one of 4 buildings. And so it was a matter of staying abreast and staying in touch with the other agents who have listings in that particular development in Bay Colony.
Yeah.
Did you have at any point doubts that this buyer was not going to close, or did other people put doubts?
You know, I have to give credit. They are the nicest couple to work with. And I had no doubt, and they assured me repeatedly that if they were ever to buy something, it would definitely be with me. And the nice thing was that at the end, they were very grateful. We still have an ongoing relationship, and I look forward to helping and supporting them in any way I can. This is the largest sale that I've had in my 27 years.
Aww.
Well, it's a boomer, and it wasn't your only sale in the month. You closed almost 10 million for the month, right?
Yeah, over 9 million.
Yeah, over 9 million. So I said almost 10 million, right? I was pushing you towards, I was nudging you forward. But yeah, congratulations, Mark. We're super proud of you, and glad to have you in the part of our luxury family.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kathrin.
All right, so we always like to spotlight one of the great sales in our region. And so congratulations to Mark on that amazing deal. Kathrin, we also have a great guest today who's going to share some insight and some strategies that can help everybody on the call. She's from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Would you like to introduce her?
Yes, sure. So today we are lucky to have Sheri Nixon. She's from Hilton Head in South Carolina. She's a top producer for many, many years. Last year's production was 45 million. She has a very, very small team, and she used to be the poster child for Bold. So I'm not going to say any more. Sheri, welcome being on our South Florida Luxury Mastermind. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us about your team, the areas you serve, and what got you into real estate.
I will do it now that I'm unmuted. Thank you so much for having me here. What a pleasure. And Kathrin, I've just enjoyed you over the years, you know, at all the family reunions and mega camps. And it's our call on second home and luxury. And it's been great. So I'm really, really flattered to be here. I have been in real estate. I got my license in let's see, 2004. Yet I was just worked with my husband and did that just kind of on the side. And then in 2010, I joined Keller Williams. My husband went on back to software sales, and then we had the Nixon real estate, but I went to Keller Williams and took it there. So I then, yes, the poster child of Bold. My very first, it was one of the first Bolds they were doing, and John Prescott, who's now, you know, been the head of it, was my leader. And he was super scary because he was so tough. And we went all the way to Charleston. So that's over 2 hours away. So we drove and went there, and I had only done, I think, just like over $2.5 million that year before. And that's kind of what I thought I was $2 million producer. And then that year I ended up doing 10.5 million. So I really raised my production. So then they ended up putting me on a slide, and they had me on a slide for quite a number of years until COVID came and they redid Bold. But that was fun. So
Sheri, what was the one tip we have some guests on the call always, and maybe some people who aren't familiar with Bold. Bold is business objective, life by design.
yes.
It's a high-powered once a week meeting over the course of 7 or 8 weeks, right, where people get together every week, and just hammer the fundamentals. What was the biggest piece you took away from Bold? Because we have Bolds that are kicking off again here really soon.
Yeah, well, so it was the mindset. They talk about your financial thermometer, that you set it, and and just to the manifesting things to happen. And so I took all of that really to heart, and I never thought, as I say, of myself as a $10 million producer. But once that happened, I never went under 10 million ever again. And you just set it for a certain time. And I know, Mark, you're nodding, because that is so important with Bold.
It is your financial thermostat. It's major. Yeah, Kathrin?
Did you have to break through some limiting beliefs in the beginning? Was it hard for you to let them go?
Yes, absolutely. I think I thought of myself as a mom, and just and not wanting to ask for business, feeling like, oh, I was, in positioning people. But really that mindset changed about how we really are helping people. It's not about just giving us money. So that was a big thing. And they do a lot too about your mindset around money, and, kind of breaking those limiting beliefs that, money can help other people. It's not just about being greedy, selfish. So there was a lot around that we did. And two, I got a chance to meet those people in Charleston. And I took it I've taken it 6 times. And I've taken it in Savannah. It's a great opportunity to meet other agents when you're going to go into another market center. I should come to Florida and take Bold.
You should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear of a lot of people taking it outside of their market center.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. And
So-
so tell us a little bit about your team.
Okay. So I have a team. I've had, it's buyer's agent, although really with the model, she's more of a showing agent, Shannon Sheehan, and she is not here today. She's taking vacation. So, but she's been with me over 10 years, and she's just such a great person, and really a person that loves customer service and loves helping people. So she shows for me. And as I say, I've had her for over 10 years. And then I have a full-time assistant, and then a transaction to close coordinator. The transaction coordinator, it is virtual. So she's in Greenville, South Carolina. So that's my team.
Mhm.
And I do negotiate. I negotiate all and write all the sales. And then Shannon shows, she also keeps up on my database, and really does a lot of the follow-up phone calls. She loves interacting with people.
What do you think makes her stay with you?
Oh, well, we started out as, she started out as a person. This is a good thing when you're hiring. She was that type of person. I knew her from school, my kids' school, and our daughters are best friends. But she was the type of person, she was a stay-at-home mom, yet she was always doing Southern living. She was selling, professional shirts. She was just always, she would clean houses. She was just a person that was really always in it for, she was a hard worker and loved to be with people. So I think she just is a person that ended up loving the business. And I was lucky enough to find her and hire her. And she stayed with me probably because we're friends, and it's just been, we built it together and had a lot of fun.
So she seems like a person that does whatever it takes.
Yes, she is.
Mhm.
Yes. And then if people want to know the model as far as payment, she was just 25% of the transaction for a long time, unless she would bring the person herself. And then it was like a 25% referral fee. So she would get 50%. But since she doesn't negotiate and write contracts, she was 25%. Now that she's doing so much follow-up, and I do have the last 2 years I've had Boomtown, she does, I mean, she's up, at 4 in the morning doing all that. So she's
Wow.
35%.
Right. Thank
So
you
if we
so
look at your team structure, Sheri, it's you, a
Mhm.
buyer's agent or a showing assistant, a transaction coordinator, and an executive assistant.
Mhm.
Those are your key pieces.
Yes.
So tell us about your business and how you've built your business.
Okay. So I started, as I say, I started with Keller Williams, and I didn't know if we wanted to break into sort of tips of how I broke into luxury, but just sort of starting in real estate in general. I have some tips about how I got started that way. Do you want us to talk?
Yeah, go ahead. Share
Yeah,
those. That would be
Go for
terrific.
it.
Okay. Okay. So I was thinking through some of the things I did early on. And as I say, my kids went to, I mean, it helped. They were at Hilton Head preparatory school. So that was a higher end school. And right off the bat, so I had 3 children. I had one in lower school, one in the middle school, one in the upper school. So that was an advantage. I got a lot of people I knew. And I did a new parent coordinator. So I became new parent coordinator. Every year I'd get that list of the new students coming to school. My kids loved it, so they would know who was new in their class because it was a small school. Yet I didn't speak about real estate to them because I wanted to respect the school. I wanted to respect that I was really welcoming them to the school. Yet over time, they know I was in real estate, but I would do things like start walking groups and just doing the connecting of them. And that's sort of been something I've continually done. It's just when they're new, they need someone to help them with all the resources here. So I did that. And then 2, my children were in theater. So I did the ticket sales at the art center, just any sort of job that I could do that got me in front of people. It gave me their emails, their numbers, things like that. So I could start speaking with them. And then over time, the real estate comes. You just first develop the friendship and be a person that they go to. So that's a good tip. And it can be other things. I mean, if you don't have children, I mean, it can certainly be higher end places at the art center, at the community can be a place because the donors, you can help with that. So that's some things I think are good things to break into real estate and luxury. And then let's see. So I also was always good about, but when, it used to be, we had 10 years of luxury real estate. You'd have one sale in Sea Pines of oceanfront and you would, in a year, and you'd have 10 on the market. So we had a lot of inventory. So I would make sure on the tour day, I would always go, if I couldn't make all showing, I would go to the high end, tour day. And that gave me a chance too. I'd make sure the ones that had lunch, not only gave me a free lunch, which is good, but it also gave me a chance to talk to those realtors, the high-end realtors, get to know them. And that's just a great way, I'd say, to break in to luxury, is just going to those high-end open houses and any sort of real tour. And then since we're a second home market and have a lot of rental homes, Saturday's our turn day. I'm sure a lot of you in Florida have that too. So on Saturday, our turn day from 10 to 4, I would look at what houses, like I could start with the oceanfront ones were for sale. And if they were on the rental market, I would go from that 10 to 4 time. You would usually have the renters leaving late, coming early. So if you were there, whether I was showing it to myself or I'd have Shannon come along and we'd act like we were showing it to each other, we would go in those houses, leave our cards, you get a chance to know the inventory. And that's one of the things in bold too. If you know the inventory, then you get the confidence and it's really going to help you do that. So that's one way to just get into those luxury homes if you're in a rental market like that. And then another thing I did is that I went to the gatekeepers of these luxury communities. We have a lot of golf course communities, and literally you can go to the guard and just be super friendly with the guards, and they sometimes know of people and can give you referrals. And 2, a lot of these communities have a liaison person with the realtors. The country clubs have people. If you constantly talk to them, try to bring them new members, then they're going to think of you when they're referring. So that's some ways to break into the high end. Another high end way that, so I didn't belong to, well, actually, we did have a house. We did a spec house in one of the communities that was high end. And I played tennis for them. But there are communities that you can play for those tennis teams or sports teams, even if you're not a member of those communities. So that might be a great way to break in. So I'm talking a lot, but those are just some.
Oh, this is good.
You were rattling them off. Those were all terrific. And I love so what I took away from that is your connection to the community, from new parent coordinator and ticket sales to looking for art events to knowing the gatekeepers of the country club, getting involved even if you're not a member of the club. It brings to mind the commercial that you shared with us. We want to share it with everybody else now, because really the idea behind this is to show your connection to the community.
Okay.
Let's give it a quick listen, and then you can tell us about it.
Hi, I'm Sheri Nixon with Keller Williams Realty. I am passionate about Hilton Head Island. My husband and I have raised our children here. We are active in the community, and for 14 years, I have been one of the top producing realtors in this area. My buyer's agent, Shannon Sheehan, and I know the Hilton Head area real estate market. Let us help you call Hilton Head Island home. The Sheri Nixon team is living, loving, and listing the Low Country.
That's terrific. So tell us about this, Sheri. What was the idea behind this, and what's been the reaction? Where have you played it? That sort of thing.
Well, so first of all, my son, he's now 30 and out of the house and works for Zoom, but he did media and traveled all over. He took those aerial shots and put that together, and he put together a long 2-minute video of just beautiful shots of Hilton Head Island. And he posted that on my Facebook page, and I really got a lot of followings from that. And it was funny because I had realtors sharing it because it's 2 minutes long. And then that one didn't start out with my face. It just started out with Hilton Head. And I'd find they were sharing it, not even realizing at the end it had my face and, mine. So he did that for me, and that's been a good thing. And then I do WHHI, which is a Hilton Head Island TV station. So that runs on that TV station. And they have a low country real estate show. And I go on that and for a 5-minute segment, and then they run commercial for me. And it's very economical. And I do that and usually then talk about different communities or listings and just try to be a resource again. And I do that, but that runs on there.
So you're showing a connection to the community and your community expertise. Is that kind of the primary thing?
Yes. And two, because we want to entice people to come to our area, whether they use us or not. We got to get them to want to come here. So the photography and drones really helped.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle video. It's not really just about houses.
Right.
And this is what attracts people. They don't buy a house just for the house. They buy it for the lifestyle it can offer. So I think that was a very smart video. You also have a very nice voice in the video. So good job. How did you record it? Your son did that for you?
So the WHHI did the voiceover, and they were going to make it into a commercial. So they did that.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it a lot. I do have a follow-up question to you for the community that you spoke about with your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really admire that because, it's a lot to deal with the moms and the PTO or PTA.
Right.
And there's always a lot of troubles that you have to deal with and a lot of drama. So you say you did not throw at them, hey, I'm Sheri, I'm a realtor. But how did you subtly tell them that you're in real estate? Because in the end, yes, you want them to know that you're in real estate because you don't want to find out then at a ticket sale that they just sold their house with someone else. How did you do that in a subtle and efficient way?
Well, I did some advertising. What you're hoping is they're seeing the advertising that you're doing in the community and that they're going to know that, and that you do have advocates that are there. So when I knew they were moving here, I would start just saying questions like, well, so where are you thinking of living? And just more talking to them about that. And never mentioning it. Sometimes if we're in a walking group, someone else might say, yeah, Sheri's great if you're looking for one or something like that. So, but I didn't, ever want to be like, hey, I'm in real estate, here's my card. It was more of just trying to help them. Even if they had another realtor, I was always making sure that I was giving them my thoughts of a community and all of that. Because then if they didn't use me, that didn't mean they could send someone else to use me later. So it was the
That
subtle
was
way,
very
but yet,
smart.
yeah.
Let's pause here for a second. Can you repeat that, what you just said?
Okay. So you don't just walk up to someone and hand them your card. You want to earn their trust, and you want them to be able to seek you out as someone who knows a lot. So if you're in groups and you're talking about, because real estate comes up a lot and you just are joining in that conversation, but you can start it by saying, if someone's new, where are you thinking of living? Do you know the community? Some questions like that. And then if they start thinking like, man, she seems to know a lot, you can say, yes, I do sell real estate. I love it. And, and then more, rather than that, just let me help you. It's more of just letting them come to you. And so that's what I did.
I loved what you said about just because they don't use you doesn't mean they're not going to send people your way.
Right. No,
And that's
it's true.
very true. I've had clients that didn't use me, but they send me people. So this is something really amazing to have that mindset, not to be upset about it, but to continue the relationship.
Right. Yes, you've got to do that. So important.
So you're coming from contribution, and trying to help the clients. You're also putting your stamp in the marketplace. We have another piece we want to share with people, because you put an article in Top Producer Magazine. So this is the cover. Tell us about the cover, and then tell us about the article.
All right. So the cover, I'm standing on rocks because I actually have a geology degree. So inside they do a little clip on Rockstar Realtor. And so this Real Producer Magazine, it's a franchise, and they have it in different communities. So Charleston had one, and our team leader, actually, which is a great team leader thing to do, she bought the franchise with the guy from Charleston. So he's helping her, because we're really similar markets, and he's helping her. And what the Real Producer Magazine is, they send out they create the magazine, and they send it out to the top 300 agents in the MLS. And so the magazine goes only to the top agents. And then they have an article, and this was the very first one they did, and I got to be on the cover, and that was nice. And they talk about the agent, and they want to know your story that's not just about real estate. So it's the goal of the magazine is to help realtors get to know other realtors. So as realtors, we can know each other, which is so important. We can talk about that in the market, but yet it's paid for by the vendors. So they go, these vendors are constantly wanting to meet top producing realtors. So if they advertise, it gets to go to all the realtors, and then they have parties. They're going to start about 4 times a year. We started with our first one, and they got to feature. They blew up that cover, and it was really felt exciting. And a lot of the realtors came, and they didn't understand. They thought I'd paid to be on the front of that magazine, and I didn't. So, and it's a really good thing. So our team leader now has another way to just talk to people, and they're not going to do just KW agents. They've done it 2 more times, and they've been agents from other companies. So it's been great. That was a really good promo.
We're going to peek inside, because we've got some 2 or 3 slides of you inside of the magazine. Who wrote the article, and what was the message that came out here, Sheri?
So Keen Eye Marketing is a great marketing service out of Charleston. And so they came down, took the photos, and then they had someone that I just had an interview with them, and they wrote the story. So it was nice. And it talks about my family, and talks about, how I got into real estate and all that. It shows my team. So that's Shannon on the right and Annie on the left. And that was fun. And then they had, so 4 pages. So, and you can see they featured a mortgage company and all of that. So that was really a great thing. But if someone, has an idea to start that franchise, it's a great way to get the name out.
Yeah, it looks terrific. You talked about connecting with realtors. This goes to realtors in the marketplace. You may have hinted at it when you talked about doing bold, all different places. Kathrin, you shared with me that Sheri, you get a lot of business from other realtors.
I
How do you
do.
do that? How do you cultivate that?
Okay, so I just looked this year. I have, it's funny, I was looking at my production. One thing we didn't talk about production, which I was glad, is my production went up to I have 27 sales this year, and I have 27 million. So I have $1 million, average sale price. So that was exciting. That's come up. But yet when I was looking at those 27 sales, 8 of them are specifically from realtors themselves in other places buying Hilton Head Island real estate. So I was shocked that there was that high of a number. And then 5 other ones that are from realtors from other places referring their clients. So that's 40% of my business coming from other realtors. I tell you, I started it, yes, bold, you can meet people, yet going to all the family reunions and mega camps, you can learn from me now. I did a bunch of years where I didn't know how to meet people because I was just hanging out with all my people from Hilton Head. And, you sit at lunch and you meet other people and it's like, I'm from Hilton Head, you're from Hilton Head. I mean, how do they choose? So I know I talked to Kathrin about this because it's been now maybe 5 years ago or so. I met an agent, Heather Loper from Orange Beach, Alabama, and we just hit it off. So we've been rooming together every time we go to mega camp and family reunion, because if you're by yourself, it's kind of lonely. So it's nice to have someone to go to these things with, but you're not just hanging out with someone from your company. And yes, we do have company events there. I mean, we have our regional event at family reunion, yet when you're just going class to class and sitting at lunch and doing all that, then you have a group.
Yeah. And we also have a lot of masterminds that you and I are part of. So find your own tribe. It's better to hang out with people that are not from your area on those events, because you can hang out with your own people in your own city, right? When you're back.
Right. I know. And so then you can start calls like we have with second homes and, some niches that you have, and just get to know those realtors that way. So that's been good. And then I have a segue to another sort of source of my income, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, Sheri, before you go there, let me ask you one other question. Do you have a follow-up once you come back? Like, do you have, I think the MRA book talks about a 1x12 or a way of just kind of reminding realtors, hey, I'm over here in Hilton Head. Do you do something as a follow-up?
Yes. You know what? I need to be more, specific about that. I do have conversations. I am on Facebook groups with them. If anyone sends me a referral, I send them a gift. I do that. Yet I do know every year I come back with that stack of cards and I get those handwritten letters from other people. So I'm so glad for them. And that I haven't been as good about that. And I just sort of have been good about keeping up with people I know. But as far as a big group and big wide swath of it, I'm not being as, dedicated to that.
And you've still got 13 deals.
Yes, I did. So yes.
You're doing something right here.
Yes.
So,
you're making a connection. Yeah.
Sheri, I want to know, and this is like, this is a question from other agents that they wanted me to ask. So what was your defining moment to break into luxury? How did you know you are good for that luxury market? Overcoming your first fear, and how did you continue from there on? If you can be as specific as possible.
Okay. So because I was in a community, Sea Pines, Hilton Head Island, I mean, it was luxury to begin with. And I was at a school that was luxury. I mean, that's the inventory I knew. And in fact, I felt more comfortable with that because that's what I focused on as far as the inventory. And it was the villas, which you call condos, we call villas, but that was the market I didn't know. I mean, so if you focus on knowing that inventory and being confident and going into one of the gated communities and just knowing which house to sell, start with those fronts, whichever one you want, start with the high end. And if you know it, then that's how you're going to break into it. Because as we know from Bold, what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on knowing those houses, and if someone's going to talk at a party about it and you know it, then that's good. I almost had the opposite of the lower end is what I didn't know. And I had to eventually learn that, because you don't want to be known. You don't want someone to say, oh, she only does luxury. And then you miss those $300,000 sales, which, you get 3 or 4 of those and you've got a luxury. So,
So how do you feel like comparing working with, regular sales and luxury sales? What is the difference, and how do you handle those clients differently? Because they are a different caliber. So
right.
How do you differentiate them?
In reality, I find luxury clientele easier. They don't have the worries about usually the money and getting their loan approved and all of that. So a lot of them are cash buyers. So they're kind of easier, but they're busy. Most of them, obviously, if they have wealth, they've worked hard for it. And many of them, they're high D. So I didn't bring them in. And this is Shannon, my showing agent. She too was always like, you go to Bold and they're saying, bring them in for a buyer consultation. Make sure you do this. Make sure you ask them this millions of questions and all that. So we sort of more hit the ground running with them. Shannon speaks with them on the phone, has really good rapport with them. And so then she gets them, before COVID, and now we can again, she gets them in the car with her and just drives around and shows them. So they feel like they're not just sitting around wasting time, because you could see sometimes they're just like, twiddling their thumbs like, hey, you've told me enough. And they don't care about you and all your stats and all that. They want to see the properties. They have a limited time, especially if they're here on vacation. They really have limited time. So we do that, just like get them in the car and go and have it ready. And even if it's just taking them through the communities, Shannon's super great about that. Because ours can be a long selling cycle, as Mark, Vincent said, that it can be years till they come back. So you want to at least get them in the car, show them the communities, figure out what they like, and then you can start from there. But I'd say that, truthfully, that's one of the things where sometimes a lower end property might want to just talk through every detail of the wholesale. And a lot of these people, they've bought and sold real estate. So you don't have to go through every bit of the transaction with them.
So they're more savvy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of time, and they want to build a relationship on the go. They don't have time to sit down for coffee.
Yes. And then you want to treat them too as an equal, and as you build that rapport, because they want to feel they can trust you, and you don't want to be salesy with them. I always do an assumptive close, just assuming they're going to love me and they're going to use me, because you're not going to want to have to do the look at me and please use me, and wouldn't that be great? So when you have a big sale, you just act like you've done 1,000 of them if you haven't.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Yes.
One more piece that we wanted to share, Kathrin, was you do some magazine advertising too, right, Sheri? So tell us about these pieces.
So this one too, this is for the real estate magazine, but I started this one because it used to say, we have another one that says teamwork makes the dream work in the arts and in real estate. I sent the wrong one. That one goes in the arts, our Hilton Head Island Arts Center, which has a lot of, actors from all over. It's very high-end equity actors. So I put that in there just to catch attention.
And do you get any business directly that you can redirect from that, or is it more like a branding thing?
I think it's more a branding thing, and the same with the TV ads and those. It's sort of that thing where people, sometimes I'll have guards at the gate, like, oh, I know you, or whatever, just over time. if you put your face out there enough. I don't do a ton of advertising, and I know one of the things, Kathrin, you're like, I don't farm. There's a whole list of things. I'm sure Gary Keller would be like, why are you not doing that? I know he says pick your things, and I certainly don't do farming and mailers and that, but I do some advertising.
Yeah, you're doing relationship, community, and then a targeted message. I think we have one more piece here that Tamara's going to share. Tell us about this piece.
Yeah, so that is this month. It's in the luxury magazine, the Keller Williams Luxury Magazine, which is a great resource because too, I made sure on this ad, because I think a lot of the people looking at that are other Keller Williams agents. So I put part of that is talking about me as well, and also about Hilton Head Island. So the 7 Green Heron, it's like $3.8 million listing. And I'll tell you where I got that in a second. And it talks about too Hilton Head Island, because I realized the lady that did the magazine, she had Florida up there on the top left instead of South Carolina. And I was like, you know what? I need to start saying Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, because I think everyone knows it, but they don't. So I want to make sure it's South Carolina. And then I do a little description of salt marshes and, you know, all of that. And then a little bit about us. Because you want to get referrals from that.
The luxury magazine is definitely a great tool.
Yes, and then they mail that out. I didn't send that thing of the cover, but the cover, then they'll send it to 100 of your top clients, and the front has a picture and you. So they will send it to your best clients. And as far as clientele, I do also, but I didn't send this. I do that American Lifestyle magazine, and that's a good way to send it to clients. And I get people all the time like, "Oh, I love your magazine," thinking like I wrote it or something. But it has I get the front, I get a little thing in the middle, and then the back can be a listing or just something about us. But I mail it out quarterly. And I split my clientele into quarters, so everyone's at least getting it once a year. And sometimes I'll double up on my highest clients and they'll get it more than once. And then you get extra copies. You can drop them off at the dentist or the, doctor.
Awesome.
I have a few more questions, Sheri, from our audience.
Okay.
Actually, it's a few. So they want to know, what CRM do you use?
Okay. So I used nothing for a long time. And I know Kathrin, we've talked about that. For a long time, I didn't have, I just used my computer and a spreadsheet. So then I did Follow Up Boss. And Shannon loves to have tasks and to do her task and to be able to set it aside. She and I are different. I mean, I stay up till like 2 a.m. and she gets up at 4. So we're almost 24 hours. But she loves, so we did Boomtown, and she loves having tasks. Like I have 70 tasks to start off the morning. That doesn't make me happy. She loves it. So she likes to work her way down. So what she does is like, she'll talk to someone and then she makes sure she puts them on if it's 2 weeks out, kind of like Gary in the Box used to do. But where you put them, if you talk to them, you put them in what's the next time they're going to pop up. So she does that digitally, and then she'll make sure she loves phone calls too. So she loves door knocking, but we can't.
I love that you two are so different. You really complement each other.
I know, but we can't do door knocking around here very many places because we have those gated communities. But she did it in her own neighborhood, and someone called her out, a realtor. So we can't do that, but we can make phone calls and all that. So yeah, we have Boomtown.
Okay, Boomtown. And then how often do you touch base with your clients, and with which media?
Okay. So we make sure that we call them our forever clients, are the ones that have bought or sold with us. So we, every month we'll go through that list, and Annie, my assistant, make sure there's not one on there that I'm like, oh, I don't want to ever see them again or something. But usually that's not the way. So we send them on their anniversary of when they bought or sold their house. We send them the brownies. And I get so many people, will send me a little thing like, oh, that was so sweet of you, and we're loving our house. So that's a thing I do consistently. And then we always have a Christmas party. And we didn't have it for COVID just 1 year, but Shannon loves Christmas. She's like a Christmas elf. So she always at her house, and we invite all our clients. And then 2, we touch base too, because, well, my daughter was a singer and Shannon's son's a singer, and they'll, like, John sang under the Harbortown oak tree, and we invite our clients because it's outside and they can come. And just being, again, the connector of, like, because so many people are moving here and they don't know. Some of them have barely even visited and then they move here. So we're like, oh, so-and-so, we meet so-and-so. Places we can have all our clients together, we love to do, because then you're like, find those that you know are the same age or same, have kids the same age. And so we do a lot of that touching, just informal touching too, of just having them. We had, John came and sang the other day and we had him out and that was fun. So we do a lot of that.
Do you have also, like, besides the in-person events, do you have any newsletter that goes regularly out, like once a week, once a month? Do you have anything like that?
So we were very good about our newsletter, and then it got dumped in together, and then with MailChimp, it was too many. So we're working through that. My next hire is going to be a tech person, a marketing tech person, to really get us systemized again with our referral people and all that. So we were being good about that, but in the last year, hadn't happened. So that's a goal.
So I have here another question. What's your white glove service look like?
Oh, okay. So the white glove service, I'd say it's just the day-to-day. It's funny, my assistant, so she gave me a crown the other day. So the crown is to be more of, because I think one of the things I do well at my white glove service is really during that transaction to close. I between all of us, my transaction coordinator and Annie and myself, the crown is for keeping things together. She was like, if you keep this last one together, we're going to give you a crown. So because just all the details that go into that transaction to close, and I get a lot of compliments about that. I know it takes a lot of my time, yet it's worth it because you want that transaction to go so smoothly. So the white glove service is just how much we do for them between the transaction and close. Now, also, I have so that $3.8 million listing that we had in that thing. One, I got the listing from an agent in Atlanta that just found me, knew of me, and called me. And she's like, I have a friend. She wants to sell her house. And so that was just like a gift to me. Now it's a gift to her because she gets 25% off a $3.8 million sale. And she just gave me the name. But that house, this person had not been in their house for a year. I came in there. They walked away. Like if y'all have been in houses when you leave if there's a family of 10 and they leave for the week after the rental, every towel was on the floor. Every bed was unmade. There was food in the refrigerator. That after a year, the roof had been leaking. Everything was a mess. So I went in. You couldn't do it for a $100,000 listing or you'd lose money. But on a $3.8 million listing, when you're getting 3% for yourself, it's worth it. So we were total concierge. We got the roofer, we got the siding person, we got the cleaner to come. We did everything. Landscaper. We staged, we this, we that. It took us a good 4 months to get that, or more. I don't know, it's maybe 6 months. It took a long time to get it where you even wanted someone to walk in there. But so that's white glove. We do that. And I just had another listing for 3.6 and they thought it was good, but it wasn't. So our clients aren't here. So white glove is just being there.
It's a handoff service. You mail the key and you take care of the rest.
Yeah.
I do have a follow-up question on the specifics I know we need to wrap up, Mark,
okay.
But let me get into this real quick. When you do the transaction with the clients, you said you do a lot for the clients. What exactly do you mean by that? Do you send them a gift in between? Do you call them a lot? Do you email them? Do you text them? What is it that you do?
We talk and text all the time. They do get good gifts at the end. We have, I do Cutco knives some. I also have a beautiful book for the sellers. There's a beautiful book about Hilton Head and all that. Yet it's more of the every little detail of things that I have people say, why are you doing that for them? Why are they should be able to pick up the phone and do that themselves. It's just the little details of too, I mean, a lot of them are having to transfer their rentals over.
Mhm.
There's a lot of details to help them with. And I'm usually just, it's calls, texts, emails, all of that, but I'm always there to answer questions. And it's weird things like, can I store my kayak under this or that? So no details too small. And I never say to them, oh, well, call yourself or something.
So the things that you do outside of the transaction make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Sheri, you've been terrific. You've shared so many great tips with us. We want to remind everyone where to find you. Sheri at livingonhigh.com.
It's living on HHI, which is
HHI, I'm sorry, living on HHI.com.
HHI.com.
We just popped it up there. Sheri at livingonhhi.com.
Yes.
And Sheri Nixon.team.com is your website. So that's where people can find you.
If 8 agents just themselves bought investment properties, it's a good place to send your clients.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, thank you again for sharing all your tips. And we appreciate it very much. We look forward to seeing you at Mega Camp.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We want to go through some of the other pieces we have coming, Kathrin, because we've got more opportunities for people to learn luxury. In fact, the Luxury and Land crossover is coming up July 27th. That's next week. Carolyn Woe and Casey Mock are going to team up for this one.
Yep.
So that's learn how to harness the synergy of 2 communities. Remember, we're a company of communities now. We've got them all over the place. We also have our next South Florida Luxury Mastermind, which is coming up on August 16th at 1 o'clock. So we'll have another great guest for that. And we want to make sure you mark your calendars now and you're ready for that. We have the South Florida Regional Mastermind, which is coming up. We have some amazing guests coming from all over the country. Before that, though, we will have the Luxury Mastermind with Brady Sandel on August 31st. That is at 1 o'clock, and you can catch that. It's exclusive to the Earned In members. The link is in the Luxury Hub in Connect. We've got the Mastermind coming. That's, did I miss another one? No, that's the August 16th, so we got to go the other way. Right. The Luxury Mastermind is coming up on September 19th and 20th. Here it is. You can see we've got a litany of guests here. It's going to be awesome. And we're adding a couple of more here. This will be an all-day event on the 20th. Kathrin, you'll be part of this. Mm-hmm. And we've also got our mixer, our VIP mixer on the 19th. So you can log on and get your tickets now before the VIP tickets sell out, and you have a chance to mix with this group on the 19th, the night before. Any thought on this, Kathrin? You've been to this before.
I think this is one of the best events. It's like a mini mega camp. And if you want to learn and be in a local setting without having to travel, this is a really great alternative. I mean, best is if you go to both. But I brought once an assistant to it, and she cried when I bought her a ticket afterwards, of course. She's like, I cannot believe you took me to this. Thank you for providing me with this value. This was the best event I've ever been to. So it's a really small investment compared to what you're going to take away from it.
Hyatt Regency Coconut Point, so in the Naples Bonita area. We also have Mega Camp, which you guys know about, and we have the Keller Williams Luxury Symposium coming up, Kathrin.
Mm-hmm.
So you have thought on that?
Yes. So this is going to be very exclusive. We only have, I believe, 750 seats, and it's going to sell out very quickly. I think they're already close to sell out. It's in Boston. Brady wants everyone to stay at the hotel that he had selected because it's part of the experience, and food is included in the ticket fee. And get your ticket soon because prices are going to go up. They're going to raise the price.
Yeah. And, we talked about the amazing job that Sheri does connecting with other realtors, 8 deals from other realtors buying, and then 5 others from referrals. It's 13. This is the kind of place where you create that opportunity for yourself, right? In fact, we mentioned several here. We have an opportunity to connect with luxury realtors.
Absolutely.
That was my big takeaway, Kathrin, from Sheri was the referrals. What was your big takeaway? Did you have one?
My takeaway was that, you can do good in the community, and you don't need to always throw at people that you are a realtor, but you still in the end get some business by just being out there and show your face and, connect with people. I think that's a big takeaway, because I am not involved in the PTA because I don't want to deal with the drama, but maybe I should be more involved. So yeah, I always take something away.
She outlined a really nice little strategy for that, didn't
Yeah,
she?
that was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you for lining that up. Thanks for co-hosting with me and for being our luxury ambassador. We look forward to seeing you on the next one in August. And we look forward to seeing all of you soon too. Thanks again, everyone, for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Have a great
Mark.
afternoon.
Thank you.